Hi, and welcome to Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast. I am one of your hosts, JERMgaming, also known as Jeremiah, and I am joined by...
Hey guys, I am Dave, the not-so-evil Viking 13.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson.
You are Joel Wilson?
That's my last name.
I'm Joel Wilson! Joel Wilson, the precious!
Stop it. Mom, go make me a sandwich! Anyways, no, I like watching Castaway. That's where I got the name Wilson actually from. So it's what I've used every time I play multiplayer games or anything online.
That's
Wilson.
That's acceptable. Okay, anyway, welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about DayZ, Battlefield, and PC gaming in general. And there's no major new DayZ news this week, although Rocket did tease on Twitter and the Reddit DayZ, the DayZ subreddit, that there will be a major announcement this week. He announced that there will be an announcement, so I guess we should be excited about that. But does anyone know of any other
I'm excited.
major news?
Dave's got
I
this.
think that's all we've gotten so far, but I tell you what, that tweet was all it took. I am currently F5ing the DayZ subreddit over and over again like a madman, and I may be rocking back and forth. I'm okay though.
Well, as usual, I'm not going to actually look up any of this information. I'll just wait till you find out, and then you will tell me.
We let Dave do all the work. We just reap the benefits.
Yeah, I'm so lazy when it comes to DayZ. Like, I'll ask Dave the dumbest questions, like, "Hey, Dave, how do I change the graphic settings?"
Well, I know that because every time one of you like plays for the first time in a few weeks, like as I'm playing with a few of you, I'm helping one or two of you like install everything all over again.
Well, it's not our fault. It's glitchy.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that when the game actually does finally come out, Dave's like, crap, I literally have no money. He can't play it, so we get to play it for like a week before him.
You're bad people, Joel. You're bad people. I was telling John today that Rocket did confirm that like on the launch day of the alpha, whenever that might be, they're actually going to have all the servers set up already. Like you'll be able to rent a server on day one. And so that on top of like building the alpha itself, getting it onto Steam, getting all the servers set up, like the stuff going on behind the scenes right now must be insane.
Yeah, I'm just going to wait and see if that actually happens, because if you remember Battlefield's day one, it was like, everything's up and running. Have fun sitting in the queue for 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be like that for probably the first week.
Yeah. So...
Because it's obvious. I mean, they don't have the people that's behind Battlefield 3 as well. I mean, like that huge amount of money, they don't have that. They have a very small team.
This is new territory too. Like this is the first game using this system on Steam. It's just going to be nuts.
I'm sure it's going to be good nuts. I mean, it can't really be broken a whole lot worse than the alpha was at first, so I'm sure we'll enjoy it.
Oh, snap.
Although we'll have plenty of mean things to say about it, too.
Yeah.
Oh, Daskro says he's all set.
Okay.
Hey, guys.
Hello. Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast. We have with us this evening Daskro.
What's up?
What's up, Daskro?
Not a whole lot. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, and sorry to drop you in right in the middle of recording, but hey, that is as professional as we get, so welcome.
This is how we roll.
My name is Jeremiah, and we are joined by Joel as well, and you already know Dave or Evil Viking.
I just want to say your photo on Skype looks awesome. You look so legit.
Which photo are you referring to? Are you referring to Dave's or Jeremiah's?
Definitely Daskro.
I only see a question mark. What is everyone else looking at?
He's just like smiling, grinning at me right now in like some sort of suit.
That photo is my super serious work photo.
I like it. I like it. It looks like a LinkedIn photo. That's what it reminds me of.
Well, it is. And the thing is that when the company pays for a photo shoot, you got to take advantage of it because those aren't cheap.
Well,
I play games.
I don't know.
They put rouge on my face and a little bit of blush. They had 3-point lighting set up with a DSLR. It was really pro.
It's like Dave's house.
I don't know why I'm getting the short end of the stick here. I only see a question mark. I feel like I'm being cheated out of...
What?
I know.
It's an experience.
It's your dial-up connection.
I mean, I do get to see Joel and his Nerf gun staring at me, so I guess that's something. His Nerf gun and his little iPod earbuds.
Even though I play games, I'm also about serious business.
Okay, well, that little segue aside, Aftermath just released this week, or this past week.
Yeah.
And we have been playing it a ton. So what is everyone's thoughts on Aftermath so far? Like 1 week in, providing, I mean 1 week in on the PC. PS3 players have been playing it for 2 weeks, but who cares?
Exactly.
I'll go first. I love it. It's really cool. I think, what is it, the scavenger mode? That's definitely, I think, my favorite mode of all of Battlefield 3 so far. Definitely. I love it. It feels more balanced because everyone's not like, there's not like as much chaos as the rest of the game. It's like quieter. It's a little bit more tactical, I feel like, and it's fun. Just like the maps are really well done. I don't know, they're really good. Definitely the capture.
Insane.
Yeah, the capture points feel like they have a little bit more of a. I don't know what the word is, but I feel like you can actually hold the point instead of like just a wide open area where everyone just chucks grenades in and you're dead. They can't drive a vehicle into a lot of the areas you can just chill in. So I like it, just being able to chill and kind of scope around corners and actually like kind of camp, but it's just I don't know. That's me.
It's called monitoring, not camping. Not camping.
Not unless you put up a tent.
Say that for DayZ though.
Yeah. So Dave, what do you think so far?
I tell you what, I feel like I'm getting my money's worth with premium here. The DLC just keeps getting better. And I already said that the visuals are just absolutely nuts in Aftermath. Like how DICE is getting all this detail into these maps and still compiling it for consoles just blows my mind. The streaming in Frostbite must be just ridiculous. I was kind of skeptical about the crossbow at first. Like that default crossbow bolt you get, it drops so much. I was like, this thing is going to be absolutely worthless. But I just unlocked the balance bolt a few days ago. And I spent like 3 hours last night on Caspian Border 24/7, just like creeping around in the bushes with the crossbow, sniping snipers in the head with the crossbow. And that was just fantastic.
What is the balance bolt? I haven't unlocked the crossbow yet, I'm sorry to say. I played like 2 matches of Scavenger, and I thought it was really awesome, and then I have been playing vanilla, or not vanilla, but I've been playing regular Aftermath mode. So what is the balance bolt?
The balance bolt is the one that doesn't suck. It essentially makes it like almost no drop. I think almost less drop than some of the sniper rifles. Less damage, though, so you have to get headshots. But like if you catch somebody, crouch, shoot somebody else like off in the distance, if they just sit there for like a second and a half, you can drop a crossbow dead into their head. Like Joel saw it at lunchtime today I was playing and nailed a guy at like 400 yards with a crossbow bolt in the head.
So what you're saying is it's almost as good as just using a gun?
Yeah, but it's just that extra like screw you, just that extra behind it.
That extra, I could totally kill you, but I'm going to take a chance and maybe not kill you because if I do kill you, you will feel shamed.
Exactly.
Daskro,
it's kind of like choosing the hard way.
Exactly.
Daskro, have you gotten a chance to play it much yet?
I played it for a few hours. I haven't played all the maps just yet. I've used the crossbow a dozen times or so, but I really do enjoy the infantry vehicle mix. I know it feels like a much more close quarters like map, but there's plenty of avenues for both ground vehicles as well as helicopters to maneuver around, and the sheer number of levels on each of the maps really makes it a whole lot more interesting because it means that as a anti-tank guy you can fire at the enemy ground vehicles at second, third, or fourth stories. The light helos have to worry about guys firing at them from nearly every angle. For those that really like the maneuverability of the light helo, these are great maps because you can really show your skill and really shine and being able to maneuver through all these very close knit high rises and other buildings of that nature while also trying to kill dudes. I really enjoy it. I was a bit skeptical at first, but I think that when we think of close quarters, we thought of maybe all the new guns and maybe this sort of close quarters combat similar to what a lot of people experienced in Operation Metro or a Grand Bazaar. On Armored Kill, it was these big, expansive maps combined with some cool new vehicles. With this expansion, it's all about the maps, and the maps are incredible. It really goes to show that DICE still has it in terms of being able to create these really fantastic-looking maps that are also really fun to play. There's so much different things that you can do in these maps, and so many different little areas you can hide and maneuver around and different routes. It really, to me, it almost feels like close quarters maps combined with the maps you'd see maybe back to Karkin or other maps like that are a bit more open. So I'm really pumped for it as well. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I agree. One of the kind of beefs I had with Armored Kill was it felt like the map design, they went so large, it felt like they just put a lot of dead space in, and it felt like you know, especially what's the big wide open grassy map, Armored Shield, especially Armored Shield. It felt like they almost got a little bit lazy just for the sake of size. And I really enjoyed the map design in Close Quarters, and I was a little bit bummed on Armored Kill. I liked everything else about Armored Kill, the new vehicles and everything like that, but I was a little let down by the map design, so I was a little nervous going into Aftermath to see what they were going to do with it, especially since they had been talking about how it was going to be this earthquake-ravaged city and everything like that. But so far, I have to say, I totally agree with you. The level design is so much more vertical, and everything is just packed now. There aren't any big dead open areas. You know, the maps are a little bit smaller, but I think they're an awesome, perfect size, especially with the buildings kind of keep the map sequestered, like parts of the map are divided enough that you don't feel like you're battling people all the way across the map. You feel like, you know, you are in like your own little hot pocket battles, but there's tons of them all over the place, and they're all really unique. So far, I definitely would have to say this is probably my favorite map design since Back to Karkin, which I don't know if that's fair to compare the design to Back to Karkin because those are kind of older maps, but they were really well remade. So yeah, I love it.
You know, speaking of vehicles, how awesome are the shocks on all the vehicles in Aftermath? Like those things bounce around just the most awesome way. Like you jump over this giant crevice in the pavement, and like your vehicle's bouncing left and right, and I don't know, it's hilarious to watch like the Jeeps run around the maps. It's tons of fun.
I do like the new vehicles. What does everyone think of the ability to shoot people out of the driver's seat?
Finally.
That's actually a new feature? I didn't even realize that. I thought you could do that already.
Well, you can shoot people out of helicopters. Have you ever been able to shoot people out of Humvees? I know you can shoot them out of buggies and open air vehicles, but with Humvees, correct me if I'm wrong, but you haven't been able to kill people.
Maybe that's right. I'm thinking just the little Jeeps and stuff, but not. I guess not the Humvees.
I heard there actually is a way you can do it. You have to like throw a grenade at a certain spot to like blow a door off or something like that. I'm not sure how that works exactly.
Yes, once you blow the door off on the Humvee, you can shoot them, but that's sort of a rare occurrence. I too am looking forward to the fact that you can now shoot people out of the vehicles as they're using them. And with the new vehicles, you do have really mechanics. The sort of up armored Humvee, which has both a 50 cal and a full auto grenade launcher, and here's what's so cool with the full auto grenade launcher is that you can point it super high, and those grenades they got an arc to them, and so it actually provides you a pseudo ability, four-man's mortar, where you can mortar down all these grenades on any points when you get the right angles. It's a little bit more advanced craft, but I sort of like that idea, to say the least.
Nice.
Now, one thing I was wondering about for Aftermath, and I haven't noticed it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. Can you kill people as easily with falling rubble? I know on a lot of the tighter maps, you can, like if someone gets a 320 or something, you can just rain rubble down on people, and it's really lethal, but I haven't noticed anyone doing that in Aftermath. Is that still possible?
I've done it a few times. It's possible.
It is possible? Okay.
You have found it a few places?
I have, yes. I can't speak to what maps they are, but intuitively, I've done it a few times on the new maps.
Oh, that's good, because I tried it a few times a few nights ago, and after 3 M320s, like I wasn't getting anything to drop, and I was like, oh, maybe it's just not available in these maps. But it's good to know that there is some spots out there.
That is good, although, did anyone else notice it looks like the interior destruction has also been toned down since Close Quarters? It seems like they're really adjusting the level of destruction for each map, I guess, to whatever will render properly. But, I mean, I don't really have any complaints. The map design is so great, I don't think it really would change anything if I could destroy more indoors.
I mean, is that more of a function of the limitations of what consoles and lower PCs can handle, or is that just, you think, because they want to be... They don't want to dedicate the amount of resources for interior design?
Maybe. I mean, I almost wonder when they were bringing out Close Quarters, that was like the big feature they talked about was Destruction 2.0 and how like things were going to be breaking down into such little tiny pieces, and then they kind of just stopped talking about it. And that for Aftermath, they have kind of their big thing is the crossbow and the new game modes. And I wonder if they're that was just what they chose to focus on for close quarters, and they're just focusing on different things for the other DLCs, which is fine. I mean, the destruction.
It probably has more to do with realizing that. I mean, like the destruction looks great in the close quarters, but it's almost just like unneeded because it gets ridiculous in some of the rooms where there's so much going on. It's like it doesn't really help you play the game, at all. It looks cool. I think that crazy destruction looks awesome in like a single player game because you have more time to like look at it and everything. But when you're just running around dying so fast or shooting people, it's like it doesn't really matter, at least to that extent. It's almost over the top. I mean, it's realistic, like you got all this stuff going around, except for those random things of paper or something you shoot, or you shoot bricks, but it's like a billion wads of paper flying.
It's like it's a paper pallet. You're attacking some paper factory, and there's just pallets of paper sitting around waiting to be destroyed, and they're everywhere.
Battlefield at Dunder Mifflin.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not sure. Do you guys ever read the level design documents for Close Quarters, kind of on the Battlefield blog back in, I think it was June?
I did not.
They actually talked about the destruction and the memory issues, and basically what it came down to was by decreasing the size of the maps to the extent that happened in close quarters, just from a gameplay design choice they made, it ended up freeing up a bunch of memory that they just decided to say, hey, let's take all this freed up memory and just put it all into destruction. But with Aftermath, you have bigger map sizes, vehicles, all that stuff. There just wasn't enough memory space for all that destruction.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I have to say nice about Aftermath is that it's run very smoothly so far. I think this might have been their smoothest DLC launch. I haven't noticed a single issue so far. I've probably played 24 matches, and I haven't been dropped from any of them. I haven't had queue problems. So
there has been a lot of lag, though.
Really? Well, I haven't really noticed any. Has anyone else?
No.
The first 2 days were pretty bad for me on both PCs that I tested it on. Just a lot of ghosting and jittering, and even some desync that was weird to see. Like I never see desync in Battlefield, but
that's true. I did see a little bit of desync the first night. Now that I think about it, but it was pretty minor. I think you were having it a lot worse than I was.
Yeah, it was here and there, just enough to kind of throw you off. And it's been the case like that for every single DLC release, just on that launch day, just all the traffic.
I do have to say I just got an ultra-capable graphics card. By ultra-capable, I mean it's capable of running the game on ultra. And I'm glad I got it in time for Aftermath because it has been really, really good so far. The game is so pretty, especially with all the dust and everything floating around.
So much dust.
Yes, the dust. It's so HD.
They killed a crap load of pixies and just like spilled their guts everywhere. Well, fly, make this game amazing.
Or it was the earthquake, one or the other. But
when in doubt, blame the pixies, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, well, is everyone ready to move on to our next topic?
Heck yes.
Sure.
Okay, another major game that is just released and that is getting a lot of rave reviews is Far Cry 3. I know Dave hasn't played it yet, but Joel and I both own it. Daskro, have you gotten a chance to try it out yet?
No, I haven't, but it's on my to-play list. I did like Far Cry 2 a lot.
I liked Far Cry 2 as well. Now, were you one of the people who liked everything about Far Cry 2 except for the stupid respawning guard checkpoints and the fact there was almost nothing to do in the world?
I most appreciated Far Cry 2 with the gun mechanics. That was the reason why I played it. The RPG elements, they're what they are.
Yeah, I played it on my PS3. I'm sad to say because my PC at the time wouldn't have been up to snuff to run it. So yeah, I know. But yeah.
Don't boo them, man. Come on.
It's all I have.
PC fanboy.
Oh, shut up. You're probably recording this on a Mac, Joel.
I am.
The truth comes out.
But yeah, I really did like the gun mechanics and the immersion and everything in Far Cry 2. And I have to say, so far, Far Cry 3 is like everything that was good about Far Cry 2 with pretty much none of the aggravation. So far, I've played a couple hours, and I'm having a ton of fun just running around collecting plants and killing more animals so I can build bigger bags to hold things and all kinds of other really hardcore island survival stuff. Joel, what have you been doing?
I love the attention to detail. I was telling Dave about it earlier today. It's just amazing. It's some stuff that I wish the almost Battlefield 3 has. You can tell, I think Battlefield 3 with its the animation system of just leaping over fences and stuff, seeing your feet, which came from Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge, man, I could not botch that word up. Anyways, but like in the game, when you're driving, like just from getting inside of a car, all the animations of how your hands move and everything, and then you can drive down a hill, smash into a tree, and your character won't just like chill there. Your character will actually lurch forward with the weight and smack into the windshield. It's really, really cool looking. And just from the way you heal yourself from wounds, from pulling out bullets to wrapping your arms with like various bandages and stuff.
Wait, you pull out bullets?
Yeah. There's one I pulled out like
snap.
I don't know. It looked like I pulled out like 3 shells from my arm, but yeah, just the idea of it is just really cool. And the fact that
awesome.
The various bandit camps and stuff, they don't respawn, so you literally can complete the whole game, which is awesome. That's what I want to do, because I don't want to just redo it over again. But from flying in a hang glider to driving around, everything just feels so awesome. I just love it. The graphics look wonderful. It reminds me of Just Cause 2, but first-person shooter.
It does, yeah. The graphics, they're not quite, like, I wouldn't say they're amazing. Like, they're pretty, but I don't know. I wouldn't say it's definitely a console port. You can tell in other things like the menus and stuff too, but especially in the graphics, you can tell that they didn't give it everything they had. But it still looks really good. Like that's kind of nitpicking. The graphics, the overall art design is awesome. The graphics, like I would be okay if they maybe released an HD texture pack or something like that, or if they open it up to modders and modders can get in there and mess with it and give us a little more fidelity. But so far I think it's really, really good. Some of the things I liked about Far Cry 2, like I said, the gun mechanics. Now Far Cry 3, they've kind of streamlined it a little bit. Your guns no longer break down. You can just keep using them forever. And they do.
Boo.
Yeah, which at first I was like, but they've kind of made the game a little more arcadey. I don't think there's malaria. Have you gotten malaria yet, Joel?
No, I haven't got any of that.
That was something that very rarely came into play in Far Cry 2, but when it did, it was incredibly annoying because you'd find yourself like out in the middle of nowhere dying with.
I played Far Cry 2 for maybe 2 hours. I'd gotten it for the PC, but I didn't really have anything that resembled a PC back then, so I could run that sucker at an amazing graphics level of 640 by 480. So I didn't really see much of the game.
Why is that resolution even supported?
I don't know. Yeah, I was able to get into a car and look at the map, but the map was so blurry I couldn't tell what I was doing. So I just drove around and I ended up just falling off of rocks and stuff and dying really fast. So I had no idea. So I was like, I gave the game away to a friend of mine because that's when I bought it actually on a physical disc. That's crazy to think now. But yeah, my friend had it, and I don't know if he ever played or anything, but yeah.
Now,
I pre-ordered that sucker too.
In Far Cry 3, do you get out your trusty torque wrench to fix your car, just like in Far Cry 2?
Well, actually, you have to unlock it.
You can get a repair tool. I haven't gotten that part yet. There are cars you can repair, but I haven't been able to repair it yet. So I'm like maybe 5 or 6 hours in.
Yeah, you can unlock a little repair thing, but it takes up one of your weapon slots. So you have to unlock your weapon slots first off. So I don't have a repair device, whatever you want to call it, because I just unlocked my 3rd weapon slot. So now I've got a suppressed pistol, assault rifle, and now I've got a sniper. And I'm considering trading the sniper out for a bow. But when I unlock the 4th one, I imagine I'll make one of those things a repair device. But it looks like it's going to be the same device. You just have to buy it and carry it around with you, which I don't know. There's a lot more cars in the game, at least in the earlier areas. You never have to run for more than about a minute before you come across something. So we'll see how it progresses for the rest of the game. As of right now, I wouldn't worry about repairing vehicles because I can just ditch it and grab another. But later on in the game, who knows, it might get a lot more hostile. Right now, we're kind of still in the, hey, you took out 2 bandit camps. The rest of the island is sunny and happy right now. Have fun. So who knows. But the vehicles do break down about as quickly. They, like Joel said, every time you drive them into something, you do get banged up a little bit, and the vehicle does get banged up a little bit. So I've only destroyed 3 so far, but that's not driving carefully at all. That's just like driving through the woods, bouncing off trees. I've driven 1 into the water so far. I kind of, in most games, including Battlefield and especially Grand Theft Auto, I kind of have the mentality of drive it till it catches on fire and then just grab the next best thing. I'm not really good with vehicle preservation. I'm not on Joel's level, where he just destroys everything we love. but
Well, that's because my mom has so much money she can just buy me new stuff.
I meant in game.
Oh, my bad. My bad. We're talking about a game. My bad.
No, I do think it's funny. Like the first thing you had to talk about in Far Cry 3 was when you wreck into stuff. It's great. It looks so realistic. But yeah, I would highly recommend you guys try it. Because so far, like I thought Far Cry 2 was a good game. A lot of people didn't. It was kind of polarizing for a lot of people. But I think if you enjoyed Far Cry 2, you will definitely like Far Cry 3. Because so far I'm having a ton of fun doing even the most mundane things, and everything else has been improved.
Yeah, because then on Steam it said like Far Cry is Skyrim with guns. Like it literally is. It's amazing. It's just so much fun.
Okay, I just thought of a beef I have with Far Cry 3. Since you mentioned
Fallout
Steam,
3, Skyrim with guns.
Fallout 3 was like Oblivion, kind of with guns.
Kind of, yeah, but much better.
I enjoyed Oblivion more, but we'll talk about that another day.
Fool.
No, a problem I do have with Far Cry 3, I got a free copy that came with my graphics card. So in order to get it, I had to register a Uplay account, which is Ubisoft's, I wouldn't even call it their attempt to copy Steam. It's more like their attempt to copy Origin.
It's actually not. I would actually, I think, this is what I think it is it's actually just being able to officially connect online to see, hey, you actually officially bought this game. Because you can't buy any games through Uplay. It's
just strong arm.
It's just
DRM.
kind of like you can get achievements, but it's basically DRM. So,
well,
but hey, it logs in pretty fast.
But if you buy them on the website, you have to then activate them on your Uplay account, which is also kind of dumb. I logged into my account online. I registered my game code. It said, great, you own the game. I said, great. So I download the Uplay desktop application. I run it. I have the game all installed. And then I log into my account, and it says, oh, you don't own this. And I was like, what? And I emailed support asking them to help me. And I got a reply back today. Awesome Ubisoft customer support. They said, hello, we saw you submitted this request within the last 48 hours. Are you still having the problem? If so, let us know.
Oh.
But
it's just wrong.
I was able to get my code finally activated on my desktop Uplay account, and now it works. But it is kind of dumb. It does. I guess that's true what you're saying, Joel. It is Ubisoft's terrible DRM scheme. They've just figured out a better way to force it on people.
Yeah, and I was just telling Dave, I was like, we wouldn't have this crap if there was less people stealing and torrenting stuff like games all the time. They wouldn't feel as the need to have to like lock down everything, because I'm like, people are really losing a lot of sales because it's so easy to do that. But, so for me personally, I like owning stuff. I like being able to own it. And it sucks having to log into these several services, but that's just the way it is now.
But I wish they would just do it more like Steam, where Steam seems to be, at least in my experience, they make the experience so good, and they have sales so good that you want to do everything through them.
And that just depends on the level of their designers, their coders, and the people who are coming up with those ideas.
That's true, and I know like Origin and Uplay, they're fairly new, so they could get a lot better. I know Steam wasn't perfect when it first launched, but fighting
Steam at least brings something else to the table, you know.
Yeah.
It's a nice library system. It doesn't get in your face. It's not intrusive. It has good sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean and it's funny because people like to call Steam DRM, but I'm like, yeah, you still got to do it. But you know what they also do? They keep every single game you ever purchased like online for you. So unless you want to just hold on to all your CDs in your mom's basement, like stacked up, you know, with all the cardboard stuff, then go ahead. But I'm like, I love being able to have access to my games anywhere. So if I completely destroy my computer like I usually do once a month, I can still re-download them.
That's actually something I haven't even checked on recently. Can you even buy a modern game like Far Cry 3? Are there box copies on the PC?
Yeah,
anywhere?
you can.
Really?
I saw it at Target, yeah.
Is it anything more than just like a Steam code?
The only thing it does faster is you're able to install the game faster than downloading it on Steam, unless you have, you know, crazy speed. But it just installs it, and then you gotta, you know, register the same way everyone else does through Steam or the Uplay. So
yeah, I don't think I've checked for a desktop PC game in a store in, I don't know, 3 years.
I bought Just Cause 2 from Newegg in a box copy. It was $5 shipped.
That's because Dave is cheap.
Oh, of course.
Not that cheap.
That's why I'm not getting Far Cry 3 until Christmas.
I know. We will all be done with that game.
No, Dave, you just need to find somebody. Maybe ask one of your subscribers if someone just bought a Radeon graphics card. They might have come with a free code they may not be using. Like if they already bought the game, who knows?
So
I
anybody,
guy.
It's worth asking.
I'll ask one. Can anyone donate a copy of Far Cry 3 to Dave Lee?
Unless it's a pride issue, and then in case we all understand, but
then I'll take the extra code.
Oh no, I'll take free games. I have no shame when it comes to free games.
Are any of you guys interested in trying the multiplayer?
Oh heck yes, yeah. I do want to play the. Sorry, multiplayer. Heck no. Co-op, yes.
Okay. Even
That's
though
what I
the
thought.
co-op is really just like challenge levels, it's not running around the island doing whatever.
It's us. We're friends. It'll be kind of fun, I'm sure, for a second or two. Unless it's like, what's that? Payday the Heist? Oh my gosh.
Okay, I enjoyed that game. I played one level with Dave, and I thought it was pretty enjoyable.
Oh gosh.
It's like
I played a level with Dave, and I hate it so much.
It's like Left 4 Dead, but the zombies are people, and they're all police officers, and they die really easily.
How many clips did we go through, Dave, within 2 minutes?
Clips.
Sorry,
me?
magazines.
All right,
magazines. I'm
thank
talking
you.
about
Joel, I will cut you.
We have two YouTubers on right now who do gun videos, and you just called them clips in front of
Hey,
them.
Daskro, yell at him, please.
And I also have a console, so.
That's all right. I covered the clip versus magazine debate in a recent episode, Guns I Know, episode 9 on my channel. But enough about the gun stuff, though. I do want to talk about Far Cry guns, because I am looking forward to Far Cry 3, particularly because it has a few guns that you don't see that often in other games. It's got the, it's called the Ace in the Far Cry 3 game. But what it actually is, it's an IMI Galil in 308, which is like it's a modification of the Finnish Valmet. It's a AK derivative with a milled receiver, a really awesome gun in real life. It's really cool to see that gun in 308 in this game. Now, granted, they call it the Ace, which is based a little bit off of the Galil Ace side folder submachine gun that the Israelis produced about 15, 20 years ago. They didn't actually make one in 308, but, whatever. They're still close enough. So I'm really looking forward to that. But they also have an Ultimax 100, which is a Singaporean light machine gun that was made by the same guy who made the AR-15, James L. Sullivan. He was contracted by the Singaporean government to create this light machine gun chambered in .223. And having shot one of these guns several times, it is the most fun light machine gun I've ever shot in my life. You can one hand shoot this thing and still be accurate. It's that light. The recoil is that easy. Oh, it is fantastic. Now, granted, it's not belt fed. It takes either drum mags or takes double stack mags. But it's really cool to see it in this game, because I can't think of a game by default that had this gun in the game. There's a lot of modding communities out there that will put these kind of guns inside of it, but it's really cool to see that.
I'm looking at pictures of it, and I'm seeing a lot of actually conflicting pictures. What platform is that gun based off of?
What platform?
Or what gun? Is it based off a gun platform? Like one picture kind of makes it look like a G3. Another one makes it look more almost like an M60.
So it utilizes the same kind of operating system that an AR-18 or an AR-180 made, which was the gun that both Eugene Stoner and James L. Sullivan had created after they made the AR-15. It's a gas piston operated gun, but it has a very unique recoil system that makes recoil very light and easy to control. It's not as hard and difficult compared to a traditional first generation gas piston gun like an STG-44 or an AK, in that you have the entire bolt carrier slamming into the back of that receiver and then violently accelerating forward. It's a lot more. It's much more fanciful. It's much easier to operate, and it's much more elegant. And there's one more gun that I am also looking forward to beyond the Ultimax 100, and that's of course the Bison, the PP-19. Yeah, it's in Battlefield 3. It's in a bunch of other games, but PP-19 Bison, also known as a Vityaz, which uses regular double stack magazine instead of the helical Bison magazine. Those are really cool. They're submachine guns and 9mm Makarov. And what's really cool about them is that they're coming to the United States in about a year. They'll be sold to civilian sporting rifles and semi-automatic. And so I'm really looking forward to those. It's on my Christmas list. I will say that.
What company is going to be selling them?
It'll be imported by Izmash, which is the AK manufacturer in Russia. It'll probably be either through either Royal Tiger or Century or Kavar. They're still in deliberations on that. It's all, what price they can get best for it. They're going through bankruptcy for the third time now, and so they're desperate to get the most for their money.
You have any idea on how much that's going to cost, or like a rough general idea? Because it doesn't appear to be, at least, that sophisticated of a gun. It looks a little more like an AK style tool.
My guess is if it comes in as a sporting rifle and sold only as a sporting rifle, you're looking at $450 to $500.
Oh wow, that's cheaper than I was thinking.
Based on what the Segas in 223 and 5.56 or in 5.45 and Semper Super 39 have come in the last few years. It probably won't be as low as it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago when Sega 12s were selling for $300, but converted, to make it look like the gun that we see in game or similar to it, it'll probably be closer to $900 to $1,000, which is pretty typical for it when you look at all the compliant parts you got to put in there and things like that. So overall, I'm going to guess a pretty decent deal.
Yeah, I do like the overall design of the gun. I've considered getting an AK on and off for a couple years, and I haven't, just because in the sub $1,000 category, I haven't really found one that I liked that much, unless it was synthetic. And of course, I'm going to get an AK. I want to get real wood.
Amen, brother.
Just for the look, but. I do really like the look.
I have a lot of AKs myself.
That's awesome.
I probably have close to a dozen, and I'll tell you that I'm really looking forward to this one. And I like both wood and I like synthetic. It's okay to be fake sometimes, but this one's going to be really cool. Now, granted, I don't want to be a boner killer here, but it's not going to come with the 50-round helical magazine. I doubt we'll ever see those in country ever, or at least not within the next 15, 20 years. And so unless there is a company that makes 50-round helical magazines, which could happen because there was a company that years back made the Calypso pistols, Calypso or Calico, something like that. It's a 9mm pistol that has a very similar helical magazine to the Bison, albeit its design's a bit different in terms of how it engages the weapon, but you're probably just going to see double stack stick magazines similar to an MP5 or something around those lines for these sporter guns. And hopefully they'll come in both 9mm Luger as well as 9mm Mac. I'm looking forward to these immensely.
Just
that'd be a great plinker too.
Looking at pictures of it, it actually might be a cool modification if you could get one of the cylinder magazines and hollow out the front, cut it off short so you can still use the double stack regular magazines, and then put a flashlight in the front of it. That could be a really cool way to kind of do like a mod and mount it.
That's kind of a neat idea. I like that. Yeah, the one thing that's going to be different about this gun compared to other AKs, it's not going to be a gas blowback system. It's going to be using a straight blowback system, similar to most other open bolt submachine guns. And so there's no system that operates a gas piston. Instead, it's all just that force of that pistol caliber cartridge going off and then forcing that bolt back and forward again.
Cool. Okay.
Awesomeness.
Well, for time, we have to start to move on, but thank you for your encyclopedic knowledge of the weapons in Far Cry 3. I mean, all of us here are gun enthusiasts, but I think you definitely just surpassed us by quite a bit.
Although on a side note,
I just like AKs a lot. I just like AKs. That's just my thing.
What'd you say, Dave?
I need to finish that sentence quick.
What?
I was going to say Joel is finally a man because like 2 weeks ago he finally shot the 1911 for the first time, finally, and he did pretty well with it. Actually, it was not bad.
That was horrible timing, dude.
I could have gone in some really strange directions there.
Okay, well, now we have a listener question/comment. If you want to be a part of the show, you can write in to casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like Jake did. Not Jake, just like Roel did. I read the wrong name on the email. Screw you, Jake. No one likes you. Just like Roel did. He said, Dear Casual Shenanigans. All right. With the end of the world getting closer every day, which 3 games does each of you chaps advise He said advice. I'm assuming he means advise. I should play before the apocalypse is upon us.
Oh, I get number one.
Okay.
I get number one. The obvious answer here is end of the world games. You got to play some DayZ. Nothing else will prepare you to become a brutal, murdering bandit like DayZ.
Yeah, but what if he means before the world just like ends? Not the zombie apocalypse, just the like meteor hits the world.
Ends. That might depress you into.
Because it's either what games do you play to prepare yourself, or what games do you play because you'll never get to play any others.
Oh man.
Dave still has two more though.
Point.
You already picked
games.
DayZ. Three games. Yep. And he said bonus points if you use the main characters of the games to pronounce the titles.
I'm so lost right now.
Okay. Well, Gordon Freeman. So you have to play Half-Life and Half-Life 2 and Episode 1. And then a fourth game, Episode 2. Because you'll squeeze an extra time.
We'll just call it Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. You can bundle the episodes in there. Do you have a third game?
Fallout 3.
Fallout 3.
It's all about the apocalypse, but that game is amazing. It got me through some rough times.
All right, Daskro? Do you have 3 suggestions?
Is this constrained by sort of an impending doom? It's December 10th right now, and you only have 21 days until the apocalypse. That kind of thing.
That's
the
how
end of
I
the world
interpret
is supposedly
it, yeah.
December 21st.
Okay, so we got 11 days.
Yeah, you have 11 days to play a lot of 3 games.
3 games. Man, it's tough because I mean, my first gut would be Final Fantasy VII, but Final Fantasy VII can take like 30, 40 hours at least, right? And so how do you do that? Now you've dedicated.
You got time for that?
Yeah, you don't have time for it. That's sort of the issue behind it. I would have said Half-Life 2, but Dave already took that. I'm a big fan of the Dead Space series.
Ooh,
that's a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of the Batman series, and so that would be really fun too. Even though I'm a huge Battlefield guy, I'm not mentioning Battlefield, and that's because I imagine that if it's sort of impending doom, a lot of people playing multiplayer, and so that's my sort of take on it.
Empty lobbies.
Yeah, a lot of empty lobbies, and playing with bots is boring, and so I don't suggest that. So those are my bland suggestions. So that's all I got.
Well, I'm gonna have super interesting suggestions. No. I would suggest The Witcher and The Witcher 2 for 2 of my games.
Yes.
2 of the best RPGs I've played. I have sunk a lot of time into them, and I really enjoyed them. And then for my third game, I'm going to say the game that shaped a good 2 or 3 years of my childhood, and that is
Angry Birds.
Age of Empires. Age of Empires with the Rise of Rome expansion. I can't tell you how many hundreds of hours I spent on the custom map editor setting up like 2,000 villagers and then sticking like a bunch of centurions in the middle and just seeing how many of them they could kill.
Oh, I love that. But I would always do it with... I would always put the lions. It would be like just like the regular workers, villagers versus like 1,000 lions. And they couldn't get out. They were just in a stone circle. And it was awesome. It was kind of horrible.
Age of Empires was a great game. To this day, whenever I see Phil Donahue on the news stations, I always think of Age of Empires, because you got the mage who would say Donahue, and then he would convert the guy, from red to blue, whatever it was. And so I got that ingrained in my mind. And take in mind, the game's been out for like 15, 20 years almost. And to this day, whenever I see Phil Donahue, I think about that.
Could you imagine the Age of Empires 4 that could have become?
Well, I don't know, because I played Age of Empires 3 and I thought it was pretty crummy.
Really? I like 3 a lot.
I think it's just a perspective of how much time I put into the first one. So, like, even going to 2, there were a couple things where I was like, this isn't pure Age of Empires.
Yeah, it's funny. I find that the older you get, like, certain games, it's kind of like, you just always go back to your early classics ones, because when I was a kid, I had like a zillion hours to play the old Age of Empires. I had nothing else to do, and I didn't actually have the whole full game. I had Windows 98 2nd edition disc, and that sucker came with several demos, which was Age of Empires, some really crappy motorcycle dirt bike game.
I remember that game.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
I loved it. It was just one giant desert.
Yep, one giant desert, and you just drive around for hours.
I played it for hours. But yeah, I played Age of Empires, and you didn't have any missions except for maybe one, but you could create levels, and I used to create my own levels and create islands and stuff, and me and my brother used to play it on a really crappy old, like, I think Intel like 200 or something, 200 megahertz piece of crap. but it's funny nowadays. It's kind of like you know, I have to really pick and choose my games to try to play because I really want to play a game for a long time. But like I play the Mass Effect games, I really enjoy them, but I don't do any of the side quests. I'm sure they're gonna be great, but I just don't have any time for it. So I really enjoy the story, so I just play through it, the main quest anyways, just all the way through.
I do that on a lot of modern games too. I just play the main story, and if the side quests are really good, if I find myself doing them just naturally, like in the Elder Scrolls games or something else, I'll do them. But yeah, in Mass Effect 2, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go mine all of these planets because I desperately want to get little upgrades for my ship. I was like, nah, we can just kill a bunch of the main characters. Who cares?
You know, I think a really amazing picture that comes to mind would be like end of the world. You see this giant crater just coming down to Earth, fire behind it and everything, and everyone's screaming. But me and my wife were just chilling with Super Nintendo playing like Donkey Kong Country or something. That would be awesome.
That's true. You could just go back to the classics, boot up some Super Mario Brothers or something, and just
that'd be pretty epic. Crappy old tube TV.
Zelda Link to the Past, perhaps.
Well, the
yes.
the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo will probably be working after all of our PCs are fried up. So.
Exactly. That and a Nokia cell phone.
Oh, someone posted a picture on Reddit today of bullets manufactured by Nokia. I think they looked to be like standard 223 rounds or something, and they did say they didn't have the Nokia logo, but it was a really old looking box that just said manufactured by Nokia.
Well, you got to remember, Nokia, it was a state industry in Finland, and as such, they had a plethora of different things that they manufactured way back in the day. It's sort of like Samsung. Samsung to this day, you think of the Galaxy phone, right? Mm-hmm. They make destroyers and cruisers for the South Korean Navy. They're actual shipbuilders, and they make these giant vessels that have 5-inch guns and missiles, and they have a defense division that makes weapons. I mean, that's sort of the thing about a lot of these countries. They have these big conglomerates that do these kind of things like this, and really Nokia, along with Saab, after World War II, were really the only two big defense companies post-World War II that actually survived unscathed relative to everyone else in Europe at the time. And so they grew to the big, enormous companies that they are, in part from those sort of defense roots.
I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
I didn't know Samsung built warships.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah, well, it's like Mitsubishi builds warships.
I knew about Mitsubishi. I've accepted that, but Samsung, I thought the worst they did was just sue Apple over and over.
They'll send a navy.
Oh no!
Of course, they'd have to fight Apple's secret army, which exists somewhere.
And it's all lawyers.
All the iMacs are actually Transformers.
Well,
controlled by lawyers.
Well, you've got to be paying all that extra money for something. Okay.
Oh.
Now
for something that works. That's what you're paying for.
Ooh. I guess that's a good segue into 60 Seconds with Joel, where Joel talks about whatever he wants for 60 seconds. Joel, go.
So, pretty awesome news, actually. This is really exciting. I didn't get to watch it, but the VGA Awards, sometimes they announce new games and stuff at them. Well, Gabe Newell just announced that they really are making their own hardware that's going to compete with the next-gen consoles from Sony and Microsoft. So I don't know whether or not this will come out next year or not, but Steam has this thing called the Big Picture mode. I'm not sure if you guys tried it out yet, but it's awesome. It's really nice. It enables you to hook up your computer up to a big TV and sit back and be able to still see the UI. Where if you're sitting back and looking at Windows, you got to go through small little text things. It makes the icons bigger, and you're able to just go right to whatever games you want. And it supports the Xbox 360 controller, which I really like because I'm actually playing Far Cry 3 with it because it's awesome to drive around the vehicles. I like the force feedback, and you don't have to be a crazy fast shooter to play the game. I like it with the controller.
That is
it's
very
nice.
True.
But that's exciting because being able to have, just imagine a PC box that's made specifically to play games. You could boot it up into a Steam mode, and you can access all of your games. And then I'm sure because Valve works with PCs, they're going to be able to have some sort of cool upgrade package. It reminds me of like the Nintendo 64. If any one of you guys ever had that, they came out with that expansion pack that allowed to play the new Donkey Kong game and the new Zelda game that came out. You had to have this little 64-bit type of expansion. And so it was like, that'd be really cool, especially for people that are on the sidelines of getting a PC, because you have to install lots of drivers, get things to correct, sign with lots of usernames. Where Xbox, you just press a button and you're playing, So I'm really excited about that because I would love to be able to do that, but I don't want to have to bring my computer downstairs to connect it or wire it really far or have to switch my mouse and keyboard all the time. I don't know, that's exciting. I like that. I hope they do that because I installed Windows 8 and then I reinstalled Windows 7 right away. Because I have a feeling that Windows is going to go into a really bad direction where it's going to be really harsh on PC developers. And there's a lot of developers talking about the new Windows or just where Windows and PCs are going, that it might be hard to develop for them again because the way Apple's done things with their App Store has created really exclusivity rights and stuff. So I think that's going to happen a lot more now on Windows, and it might be harder to get games to sell on PC because it makes it so easy on like apps like the iPhone or Android where it's just a one-click button, where PCs just, there's a lot more steps to do it. So I'm excited about that.
All right. Well, this has been almost 3 minutes with Joel. Tune in next week for almost 3 minutes with Joel, where he will rant about something else for a minute. But no, I am very excited about the Steam box too. I'm excited to see, basically just because at this point Valve has almost done no wrongs lately, and I'm excited to see what fresh take they bring to doing a console, because it might actually prompt console makers to step their game up a little bit, whether it's software or firmware upgrades for their hardware or figuring out how to actually code games and port them properly. I'm looking forward to just seeing what Steam can, or see what Valve can do when they push the industry forward a little bit. I'm assuming they will. They generally do when they come out with a new idea. So I am very excited about that. Now we are going to have a short interview with our special guest for the evening, Daskro. So Dave, would you like to take it away?
Sure. Yeah, we're actually going to go back to some Battlefield 3 here. And Daskro, you do a lot of competitive Battlefield 3, is that right?
Yes, I do.
If you could just give us a rundown on what the competitive scene is like, because our kind of thing for when we play Battlefield 3 is we call ourselves, the casual Shenanigans gamers. We're just all about pub matches and just kind of messing around. But I don't know a whole lot about the competitive stuff in Battlefield 3.
Well, competitive Battlefield 3 is sort of the ideal that one tries to experience when playing in pubs. We all have these moments where we're playing Battlefield 3 or even previous Battlefield games. And we have these Battlefield moments, the moment where we're fighting in the tank and we're in this intense tank-on-tank battle and we're about to lose. We're about to go down, and then one of our squad mates spawns on us, gets the repair tool, starts repairing us, and we start winning that battle. And we end up killing that tank, and we feel good about it. Or we're in this big infantry fight, and there's 4 or 5 infantry guys pushing us. We're trying to defend a point, and you're the only one left. And you think, hey, it's over, and then your helicopter comes above you and just destroys all those guys, and you're able to hold that point. These are these moments that we really strive for, that we won't play for hours, try to experience them. And what competitive Battlefield really is about those moments. In competitive Battlefield, you get to experience those kind of moments constantly. In game modes such as 32 versus 32, Conquest Large, all 32 people are all PTFOing on each side. They're all in voice comms together, just like you and I are talking right now. And you get to formulate these strategies. You get to execute these tactics with a squad that you're actually talking to on voice comms. And I know that Battlefield 3 doesn't have in-game VoIP that's worth anything, but in competitive Battlefield, you get on TeamSpeak, you get on Ventrilo, you get on Mumble, whatever one you choose, and you play it out. And you get to experience these over-the-top games that maybe only will happen in pubs once a week, once a month, that kind of thing. And it can be really casual. So you have events like Global Conflict or 21st Century Warfare or Level Battlefield, which are 32 versus 32 events. But there's also smaller, more competitive shooter-based events, such as with Team Warfare League or CGL or most recently CEVO. With these leagues, you'll play smaller game modes like 44 Squad Rush or 5v5 Conquest Infantry only. So if you're really into that sort of close quarters, shooter-focused gameplay, that's the game mode for you. And playing those is so much fun because it's about playing with your teammates, learning the maps, trying to accomplish the objectives. And if you like Rush, Squad Rush is a lot of fun because it's a little bit smaller. It's 4v4, and you get a play these maps very similar to Rush, but there's no vehicles, and you just have to play in a squad. It's just you and your teammates versus another group of guys. And so I love it. I'm playing competitive Battlefield for 10 years now, and if ever given the opportunity to play in a casual scrimmage or playing in a professional match, I always take that over playing in pubs because it's so much more fun. You get that camaraderie. You get these Battlefield moments that are so much fun. You get all this, and you can just look at my channel. You can look at all this awesome footage I get. And this awesome footage isn't because of me spending hours grinding. I would say 80% of the time when I play the game, I'm recording it, and out of that, I'm probably posting 50-60% of that footage because so much of it is entertaining. So much of it is fun to play, it's fun to experience, and that's why competitive playing is so fun. You got to have all these great moments.
Man, I'm sold. How about you guys?
What are the loadouts like for competitive gaming? Like for yours?
It depends entirely what game mode and what team size you're playing on, and to a certain extent, what map you're playing on. So just earlier this week, yesterday, we had a big 32 match on Death Valley armored kill map, and in this game mode, there's like 7 tanks and TDs and the air vehicles and everything else on it, and so we probably had maybe 14 to 18 of our players going engineers simply because in a vehicle role. However, we still had a bunch of recon guys using the MAVs. And if you've ever played a dedicated recon role in a pub, and you've played against another recon guy, other than sniping each other back and forth, it's also MAV wars, because MAVs are such good assets to have up in the air because they can not only short circuit enemy MAVs, but they can short circuit SOFLAMs. And in competitive play, we use SOFLAMs, and we're like, oh, those are SOFLAM, who cares? But in competitive play, people are actually using javelins with SOFLAMs and doing that double damage. And it's a huge deal.
Sounds like a dream.
It really is. because as a vehicle guy, I always have to run smoke. Because if I don't run smoke, I'm going to get killed super fast by all those javelins. Man. Because people are going to be playing together knowing that, hey, there are 7 TDs and tanks on the enemy team. We got to go javelins. We got to go RPGs. We got to go SOFLAMs. And likewise, even on some maps like Sane Crossing, another map that I played yesterday as well, I went mortar. And I know everyone's like, well, Daskro, mortar's terrible in pubs. But in Sane Crossing and competitive play, mortar is freaking awesome because with tank crews, 1 tank on each side, you got 1 tanker who's driving the tank around. You got a guy gunning. You got a guy in the CITV. But you have 4 or 5 guys constantly repairing that tank to keep it up. Because it's such an important asset. And what's the best way to kill all those repair guys behind that tank? To mortar them. And so, and what's a better way to make sure that tank doesn't kill your dudes? You smoke them right in the front of him, right in his face, so they can't see anything. and that's the kind of thing where all these sort of elements that are sort of disregarded in regular pub matches become a whole lot more viable. And that's what makes it so fun about it, is that if you're not a great shot, but you want a mortar, then you can go that mortar. And you know what is so interesting about the mortar play is that it's mortar versus counter mortar. You got to put your mortar down and get 1 or 2 shots and then pick it up and move elsewhere. Because if you stay in that same position, you're going to be spotted on that mini map, and then that other guy on the other team with a mortar is going to mortar you, and then you die. And so there's all this very fast-paced dynamics, all changing place, and all these classes that normally aren't as viable become a whole lot more viable. It becomes a whole lot more accessible for people who may not be best shots, but want to still contribute to the team, still want to communicate well, and still want to have fun.
That sounds amazing. That's what we need to do, Dave. Because our games seem to be
doing the wrong thing here.
I seem to join a game with Dave. Dave's amazing at jets. I usually die on the ground running around. I do really well in like close quarter battle stuff. I'm a little bit faster with the Twitch kind of stuff. I enjoy that. I like getting in the action and just destroying people. But yeah, I used to play Day of Defeat back in the day, the Half-Life Source one, the second version that came out. And I used to play with a friend of mine. We had a huge team, and I remember some of the best moments was we ended up playing a clan game against an entire German team, playing as the Germans in Day of Defeat, and we're all like these lackey Americans. It was but it was scary because you'd get into the voice chat with them, they're like, and I was like, holy crap. It was like really terrifying, but it was awesome because we knew all the guys, and so we were able to actually say, hey, dude, you 3 cover this side, we are going to flank over here. But when I joined just an average Battlefield 3 game, it's like you got 40 other people that don't know who you are and really could give a rip, and they don't want you to drive their vehicles. Or so when we all play as a clan, the Shenanigans people, we have a lot of fun because we all stay in a squad, so we kind of work together. But it'd be awesome to have like 16 people that we know are friends and play it. That would be awesome. That sounds great.
And I'll tell you, anyone can join these kind of events I'm talking about. You don't need to be some pro player. For events like Global Conflict or 21st Century Warfare or Level Battlefield, or even the Reddit team that I run, which is a 70-man team that I run with a few other guys, you sign up on their websites, and then it says, okay, you signed up, show up at noon on Saturday. Straight, you can play for as little or as much as you want. Just get in the TeamSpeak server, and we'll assign you. And if you're really into, let's say, more regimented stuff, like you're a private, you got to report up to your sergeant, and your sergeant reports up to the captain reports up to the general. There are Global Conflict is a league for you there, because it's all about giving orders and listening to orders. And I'm the captain, but I got to listen to the general, because the general's going to tell me where to go. And when I do, I'm going to tell my squad to go this way. So push the B flank, or everyone go engineer and take out the enemy vehicle, or whatever it may be. And that's a lot of fun. It really is, because if you want that kind of direction, it's a lot of fun, because you can really get into the immersion of it, because you hear the general say, I'm General so and so, and we're going to take out this map, and so and so forth, and it's very cool. There's a lot of game modes like that on the larger end. Like I mentioned, there's smaller things, like if you're into more 5v5 or 4v4 stuff, you can go to gamerspearl.com, which is more of a scrim finder, or ESL, which is fantastic for you Europeans. You go to esl.eu. It's like a ladder system that's integrated into Battlelog, and so you search for a game, and it pairs you with 4 other dudes based on your skill set, and you fight other dudes in a quick 10-minute round, 5v5, and it tracks your wins and losses, and it's integrated into Battlelog, and so it automatically joins the game for you, and you can ready up in the game by going into your in-game menu and clicking ready up. It's really, really slick. There's a lot of options out there, and I suggest anyone to check all these things out, because it changes your experience of Battlefield completely.
All right, I will post some links in the podcast description to some of these different ones. I've got Gamers Pearl, Global Conflict, ESL.eu, and the Reddit BF3 team. So yeah, I encourage you guys to go check them out. And actually, I think I probably will check out some of these too, because you're just talking about them for 10 minutes has pretty much sold me. And I can't imagine what we couldn't accomplish if me, Dave, Joel, and say Yako are all in one squad. The depths to which we can't sink are just limitless. I would love to go.
Ships and helicopters will sink to the ground.
Yeah, I would love to get my butt handed to me on one of these servers. But yeah, thank you very much for telling us about it. Like, honestly, I've had no experience in the truly competitive BF3 scene, so that is awesome, and I highly encourage anyone listening to check it out. Now, before we end, we have a special section that we like to call Dave's Comment of the Week. So,
dun, 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 dun.
What do you have for us?
So my comment of the week is where I pick a random YouTube comment from my channel and go ahead and play it through a voice synthesizer, just for that dramatic effect, and let you guys enjoy it. So here is my comment of the week.
The War Z is the only game of its time. There are no other zombie MMOs where you play as a midget and everything is way too big.
Do we have time for one more question after this?
Okay, yes, we have time for one more question. I give you permission, Joel.
Awesome. I had a question.
Okay.
I'm curious. It's actually a question for every one of you. If we can go at it one at a time, but kind of want to start with Daskro. I'm curious, what was your very first PC game that really got you into gaming? I mean, it seems like you play PC a lot, and you've been playing Battlefield for 10 years, it says. That's pretty amazing. What was your first PC game that sold you on just playing games in general, maybe?
The first game that sold me on PC was MechWarrior 2, which came out in like 95, 94, something like that. The MechWarrior series really got me super interested, and then after that it was Might and Magic 4, Might and Magic 3. That one was fantastic, and then played all those for a long time. Did Quake, but then got into Half-Life, and Half-Life just took off from there. I mean, it's really the MechWarrior series was really the first ones for me.
Cool.
That's awesome. What about you, Dave?
This is kind of random, but actually SimCity 2000.
Oh, that was a great game.
Yeah,
I was hooked on that game, and I think
respectable.
Did you realize
that,
they made a Sim City with like animal farms or like beehives and ant farms or something like that? They went all out there. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, SimCity 2000. I spent so many hours in that game, and doing like custom tile stuff and modding it, and I really wonder if like that's where I got my first hook into like level design and environment art, like just building all those massive cities and pouring all those ridiculous hours. It was good fun.
That's awesome. What about you, Jeremiah?
I'm trying to remember which one I played first, but my first two I know were Myst and Star Wars Rebel Assault. Star Wars Rebel Assault, I never got past the tutorial level because I was pretty
Oh my
young.
gosh, I love that game.
I was playing with a joystick and I had this problem about where I kept crashing into the sand dunes going through Beggar's Canyon. But then a friend of mine showed me cheat codes that let you warp to the Star Destroyer level, and I did that and then just played that. I think I only played the Star Destroyer level after I learned the cheat code. But then Myst, me and my dad played Myst together, I don't know, probably over the course of 2 years. So that definitely got me interested in adventure gaming. And then after that, I think the next big game I got into on the PC was probably Age of Empires. I was a big fan of the Need for Speed series on the PC. I didn't own a console until the early 2000s, but I played all the Need for Speeds, but then I think Age of Empires was probably the next big one. At that point, I knew, like, okay, this is special, and I'm going to be doing this for a very long time.
That's awesome. I think
another game I wanted to mention,
okay,
because I had to look it up, because I was going to butcher it if I said otherwise. Another one that I love to play that came out in the early 90s was Quest for Glory: Shadows of Darkness. And it was like it was basically a old school RPG, but I remember in the game, when you went to the swamp, there was a swamp lady, like a siren of sorts. And this had, I think, maybe 16-bit graphics, something like that. And she had huge tits. And I remember going to that and talk. You could talk to her and stuff like that. And if she tried to seduce you, and if you got seduced, spoiler alert, she would drown you in the swamp, and that was the end of it. But I remember I got in such trouble for playing that game because my mom caught me playing the game, and she saw this very well endowed swamp lady and thought that it was like game porno. It was really quite awkward, and it wasn't. It really wasn't in retrospect. It actually sort of makes it actually it's pretty tame compared to a lot of the games out there as they are today.
Yeah.
I mean, like I saw some of the screenshots for Far Cry 3. There's a Reddit post about the moment my mom walked in, watched me playing Far Cry 3,
too.
and it's not even comparable to that. It's not even close to that. And so that was another one that I really love to play. Really great story, really fun gameplay. It's too bad almost all of these games that I just mentioned, all the game companies went defunct, and so it kind of shows you how volatile the industry is.
Well, it's funny you got in trouble for that. I think literally the first computer game I probably ever played was Crystal Caves. I don't know if anyone ever played that.
Never heard of it.
It was on Windows 3.1, and I hand installed that thing. Like that's 12 discs. That's 12. not floppy. Not floppy discs. What do you call it? The plastic hard ones. I forget what it's called.
Floppy.
Is it the floppy? I guess they're still called floppy disks.
Floppy.
You know what? And the funny thing is, like, I think our generation in the next probably 5 or 6 years, it's funny how that's the symbol for saving things, like saving Word documents, but yet no one has a lot of people like I've talked with have no clue what that icon even is. But that's a floppy disk. And it's funny, I wonder if that would go away. But I used to play Crystal Caves, but then the game that I'd always get in trouble for, a friend of mine had a laptop. I would go over to his house. We weren't allowed to go over his house because their parents smoked a lot, and my mom was scared we were going to get cancer from going over there. But we would sneak over anyways, and we would play Doom on his laptop. And we were so hardcore about playing this resolution, and it was just, I remember my mind was being blown. But we would actually share the keyboard, so I would get to use the W key to go forward and to move around. My brother would do the shooting, and the other guy would do some other key for jumping. And so we would share the keyboard. I think it was the gayest thing ever. Our hands are just intertwined, but we were playing this thing. It was so much fun. But I'd go home and my mom would smell smoke on me, and then I would be in trouble. But I was like, next week I will play.
Okay, well, that is the end of our lovely hour or so together. But before we go, be sure to check out all of our YouTube channels. Shameless plugs incoming, beware. You can check out Dave at Evil Viking 13, Daskro at Daskro, spelled Daskro, and me at JERMgaming, Germ with a J, JERM gaming. So go check out everybody's YouTube channels. And thank you, Daskro, for being on the show. We had a great talk with you. Your encyclopedic knowledge, like I mentioned before, about guns is awesome, and we will probably have to have you back next time we have gun questions about stuff in games.
Definitely.
Thanks for having me. Enjoy myself.
Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, if you want to be part of the show, remember, write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter, where we currently have 1 follower. Woot! And you can, of course, check...
I think it's me, actually.
I started following it again today, so I think we probably have 2 followers now. But, yeah, go find us on Twitter. Our name is Casual Shenaniga, because apparently that was too many characters. But we'll put it in the podcast description. And also subscribe to us through iTunes. So there's so many different ways you can listen to this podcast. You know, we're going to do everything short of showing up outside your house with a boombox holding it above our heads going, please. But
why won't you love us?
But anyway, thanks for listening. Write in with your comments and questions, and thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time.